Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sasha Farbach. The EU's long-negotiated Mercosur trade deal is reaching a critical moment, with a decisive vote coming up this Friday. Now, Brussels offered 45 billion euros in early agricultural funding to convince holdouts like Italy, which could tip the scales, while France and Poland continue to push for stronger safeguards for farmers. Now, with protests in the streets and geopolitical tensions rising in Latin America, there's much hanging in the balance. And now to analyze it further, we're joined by Piotr Kaczyński, EU Institutional Issues Lecturer at the European Institute of Public Administration. Good to have you back on TVP World.
Good morning.
Piotr, so where we are right now, critical days ahead. We've covered this before, but what is your sense? Will that vote fly over the finish line on Friday? Will this deal finally get done?
Well, there are two major new developments since December. First, of course, is this massive happenings in Venezuela that are pushing all Europeans together and also in support, in a way, of free movement and free acting in the international arena, because what we are talking about is about talking sovereignty of the nations of Latin America in making agreements that they would like to have. And the one on the table is, of course, EU-Mercosur. That's number one. And second, of course, is the new measures that the Commission has proposed, some kind of safeguards that can sway likes of Italy, France and Poland to be in one block, accepting this EU-Mercosur agreement and sending a very strong message to the world. What is the European way of in this new world order out there? The second big topic, of course, is upcoming yet another major free trade agreement between EU and India in a couple weeks down the road, but that is yet another big story to start.
All right. So let's go on this, because I think it's also very much about resistance. There have been protests on the street. The farmers in particular have been adamant about this is not fair to them. The Commission and the European authorities have tried to placate them. In the last sort of 24 hours, let's look at some of these things, especially in Poland. Give us your take. I mean, this threshold now, it's supposed to safeguard this 5%. Pretty much, is that enough in certain types of imports, agriculture imports from Latin America? Is that enough for Poland to be happy? Is this going to be enough for the farmers to accept this?
Well, it is for farmers to say whether it is acceptable for them. I would just appeal to the historical references out there. The farmers in Poland, the farmers in France, the farmers in Romania and other countries are traditionally extremely careful when it comes to opening markets. Now, historically, they have not suffered from opened markets. They have benefited from new markets as well, because all those markets in, for example, Latin America, they will have to meet the European standards to be able to export the agricultural goods into Europe. European good exports, agricultural exports, will probably rise because of this free trade agreement. Not only cars, but also agriculture exports will rise. So this is what historical effects are telling us. Look at 2004, Poland accession into the EU. Farmers were the most afraid to join the EU. 25 years later, agriculture is one of the major Polish exports within the unified bloc.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, I mean, nevertheless, there are still angry farmers. They'll be protesting as well in Poland, very likely also tomorrow for that critical vote in Brussels. At the same time, let me also ask you about one of the key points. I mean, it's not that we need unanimity. It's clear also to our viewers that not every single member state needs to vote on this to get this over the line. Now, one of the key holdouts has been Italy. Giorgia Meloni, if we go back, as we said in December, she said, well, she's not quite sure, she needs more time. Given now with this proposal by the Commission Commission, this 45 billion, this is part of the EU budget, sweeten the deal. Her statement, I'm just going to read it out to you from her office. I think this is from yesterday. A positive and significant step forward in the negotiations leading to the new EU budget. So with that, what's the subtext there? Is this a yes? Is this a no? Is this a maybe from Rome?
It's definitely a maybe from Rome, subject to deliberations between the Italians and the French and the Americans and the Polish and everybody else who's hesitant on the line. It is important that the Commission is pushing this forward. It is important that this file moves ahead. And what the Italians need is they need a reason to say yes. They will be a little bit overwhelmed by the Americans in this process, because Giorgia Meloni, the bridge, the European bridge to America, as she's called, she's a little bit suffering right now post Venezuela. So effectively, what Commissioner von der Leyen needs is actually Paris. Paris is the most important capital here. If Paris is swayed, then Rome will follow.
All right. And speaking about that bridge, it's a tricky bridge at the moment from Europe to the United States. The Donroe document, as he likes to call it. How much has that now impacted all of this? What we've seen in Venezuela, has this now come more to the forefront of this deal getting over the line? What's the impact of what Trump has done in Venezuela?
The impact of what Trump has done in Venezuela is still forthcoming. We will have to see what are the repercussions in the upcoming weeks, because there's inflation of words coming from the U.S. Only over the last 24 hours. You have, 66 international organizations from which United States have withdrawn. You have all those words against Greenland and all Europeans standing in line. You have good new bridge, new initiatives, new words, comforting words coming from Mark Rutte on the future of NATO. In the Greenlandish context or Greenlandic context. So this is all in the mix. This is not yet a kind of there was a big puff and now we see what is the settlement of the story. This is only preemption to a bigger story out there.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, Donald Trump is not a fan of the European Union. He's made that clear. So now seeing this giant deal go ahead without him, would he see Mercosur, if it does go through, would he see this as a threat? Or how would he, let's say anything to oppose this?
Yes, I mean, this is a completely different strategy than what the Americans have had. The European strategy is to have free trade. The American approach is to have increased tariffs. So that's a completely opposite strategy out there. And Donald Trump should be open to the conversation, because if he believes that tariffs are safeguarding America's interests, then free trade of other people is not beneficial to Europeans, according to Mr. Trump. Let's see who's right in the longer term. But let's see if it's truly the case. It can be viewed as a hostile attempt, of course, but what else can Europeans do? The Europeans are doing free trade. We would love to have free trade with the United States at one stage, of course, but that's not going to happen under this administration.
All right. And also, I want to go back to what you said earlier about India. I mean, there's this other potential trade deal. I mean, I know that Sikorski, the foreign minister of Poland, is going there very soon. India at this Weimar Triangle, France, Poland, Germany, meeting together. What's the impact of India? What's their role increasingly also, not just in economics, but also security? Give us that shortly.
That's a very important and very interesting take, because India has just announced that it has surpassed Germany and Japan actually, and becoming the fourth largest economy in the world. So Indian economy, we know that this is the most populous nation out there in the world, is a waking up giant, and it's been this actor that is going against every other narrative out there. They are cooperating with everyone. They are cooperating with Americans and Russians and the Chinese and Europeans. They are wary of each of them as well. So to have a free trade with India for the European Union would be a major breakthrough in that kind of building of a solid relationship. Also, in terms of security, we know it's not easy to convince our southern partners, out of whom India and Brazil are the biggest. And if we have a free trade agreements with Mercosur and with India within the next 12 months or 24 months, this would be a fantastic news for multilateralism and the future of stability in the world.
All right, so interesting things to follow, and of course we'll be covering as Foreign Minister Sikorski will travel to India very soon. Keep it here on TVP World. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure. Piotr Kaczyński there. Much appreciated.
Thank you for having me.
That concludes World Talks, but stay right here for more news and commentary on TVP World. Goodbye.